Good morning and welcome to World News here on TVP World. I'm Diana Skye. And we begin with the latest flare-up on the Ukraine-Russia front. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has accused Ukraine of attempting to strike the residence of Vladimir Putin in the Novgorod region, a claim Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has flatly rejected as false.
Sergei Lavrov said that on the night between December 28 and 29, Ukraine launched 91 long-range drones at Putin's residence, all of which were intercepted by Russia's air defenses. The foreign minister said that while Russia would not leave the ongoing peace negotiations due to the supposed incident, it would review its position in the talks. These accusations were refuted by Ukrainian President Zelenskyy, who said Moscow wants to undermine the ongoing peace efforts, adding that Russia is also preparing ground to strike Ukraine's government buildings in Kyiv. The Ukrainian leader also called on the US to, quote, react to Russian threats accordingly. Just today, in spite of his supposed enthusiasm for the peace talks announced by US President Donald Trump, Vladimir Putin ordered his generals to capture the city of Zaporizhia and gain full control over the Donbas region.
We all understand that liberating Seversk and effective operations in Konstantinivka allow our forces to create conditions for further advances and for taking the entire Sloviansk, Druszkivka and Kramatorsk agglomeration, seizing the whole enemy defense line there, and in coordination with the West and Center group of forces to fully liberate the Donbas region. Of course, we must continue the advance along with the East group of forces to liberate Zaporizhia.
Donald Trump also weighed in on the alleged attack on one of Putin's residences, saying he learned of the incident directly from Putin and is, quote, very angry.
Are you worried that the alleged strike on Putin's residence could scuttle the peace?
Yeah, I don't like it. It's not good. I heard about it this morning. You know who told me about it? President Putin told me about it. Early in the morning, he said he was attacked. It's no good. It's no good. Don't forget, you know, the Tomahawks. I stopped the Tomahawks. I didn't want that. Because we're talking about, you know, it's a delicate period of time. This is not the right time. It's one thing to be offensive, because they were offensive. It's another thing to attack his house. It's not the right time to do any of that, and can't do it. And I learned about it from President Putin today. I was very angry about it.
But you have U.S. intelligence services that monitor that region very closely. Is there any evidence?
Well, it came out. Well, we'll find out. I mean, you're saying maybe the attack didn't take place. It's possible too, I guess. But President Putin told me this morning it did.
Both President Trump and President Zelenskyy praised the progress towards peace during their talks in Florida over the weekend, with the U.S. president insisting that Putin was eager to end hostilities and make Ukraine prosper. Putin's response, however, was a renewed call to arms. Natalia Komarov has this report on the Florida talks and Moscow's reaction.
While Ukraine and the West intensify efforts towards peace, the Kremlin doubles down. Russia's top military brass gathered on Monday to hear an order from Putin: press on with the war.
The group continues offensive operations in the Zaporizhia region. The foremost units are now roughly 15 kilometers from the southern outskirts of the city of Zaporizhia.
How many? 15 kilometers?
Yes, around 15 kilometers to the outskirts.
Of course, we must continue the advance along with the Vostok group to liberate Zaporizhia.
This just a day after U.S. President Donald Trump praised Putin's willingness to pursue peace as he hosted his Ukrainian counterpart Volodymyr Zelenskyy at his Mar-a-Lago residence in Florida.
Russia's going to be helping. Russia wants to see Ukraine succeed. Once it sounds a little strange.
U.S. and Ukrainian teams deliberated for nearly 3 hours.
We discussed all the aspects of the peace framework, which includes, and we have great achievements, 20-point peace plan, 90% agreed, and U.S.-Ukraine security guarantees, 100% agreed.
This was the most crucial item on the agenda: post-war security guarantees for Ukraine, as similar as possible to NATO Article 5.
If Russia invades Ukraine, a coordinated military response will be launched and all global sanctions against Russia will be reinstated.
Later, while answering questions from journalists, Zelenskyy specified that the guarantees are to last 15 years.
I really wanted the guarantees to be longer, and I told him that we would really like to consider the possibility of 30, 40, 50 years. And then this will be a historic decision by President Trump. The president said that he would think about it.
But two important issues remain unresolved. First, the future status of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, Europe's largest nuclear facility, which Russia wants to connect to its power grid, while Ukraine refuses to give it away. Second, potential territorial concessions, which, as Zelenskyy underlines, cannot be simply decided by diplomats. The Ukrainian president has proposed to hold referendum on the matter.
Of course, our society has to choose and has to vote, because it's their land, the land not of one person, it's the land of our nation.
The Ukrainian public overwhelmingly rejects the idea of ceding Donbas.
It's wrong to give up our territory. Yes, peace is important, but it must be a just peace.
Ukrainian lawmakers would also have to approve any terms for peace.
Nobody saw a detailed plan, actually action plan. We just see political will, we just see a framework. Even in Ukraine, in the parliament, we didn't discuss any particular or detailed plan.
So, what can Ukrainians really expect as the war is nearing its 5th year? More drone strikes and more deliberations between world leaders. Meanwhile, the Kremlin seems to rejoice, with Putin's envoy Kirill Dmitriev riding the waves. For TVP World, Natalia Komarov.
Now, amid ongoing war and growing fatigue over the war, questions remain about Ukraine's leverage and the prospects for a lasting peace. Marcin Zaborowski, TVP World's Europe editor, weighs in on the imperfect reality on the ground and the role the United States is playing as mediator. Let's listen.
This is a very imperfect situation, very imperfect reality. So Ukraine is at war, it's exhausted. The Ukrainian young men do not want to serve, so Ukraine does not have initiative in this process. And the European public opinion and American public opinion especially are growing tired of war which has been lasting for such a long time and of supporting Ukraine. So given that, I think, rather imperfect conditions, I think the fact that that Donald Trump actually committed a considerable time of energy and time to solve this issue, sit at the table with Jared Kushner, with Steve Witkoff, with the Secretary of State. It shows that America is very serious about being a mediator in this process. Not so much a part of a pro-Ukrainian coalition, but a mediator at this point in time.
Even if the fighting ends, several pivotal and highly sensitive issues must be resolved, among them the fate of Ukrainian children abducted by Russia. When TVP World asked whether a meeting with President Trump could guarantee their return, Volodymyr Zelenskyy was cautious and said, "We cannot be certain because we are dealing with Russia." Sonia Gatabishchan has the story.
A family reunion. Less than 2,000 Ukrainian children abducted by Russia experienced this, a fraction of Ukraine's confirmed figure of approximately 20,000 children forcibly deported by Russia, with the exact number likely being much higher. And responding to TVP World, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy said there is no guarantee that Moscow will return the remaining children.
To be honest, we cannot be certain because we are dealing with Russia. This is the most difficult issue, and it is very important that our partners raise it. It is also very important that you, journalists, raise it, because if we don't talk about it, Russia will do everything to make this issue be forgotten.
But for now, the international community is talking about it. Earlier in December, the United Nations General Assembly adopted a resolution denouncing forced transfers of Ukrainian children by 91 votes.
A child belongs with a family, with safety, with love, not in camps, institutions, or faraway places where he is kept under the control of those who abducted them, not under false names, false flags, or aggressive propaganda.
In a 2025 report on the issue for the Parliamentary Assembly of the OSCE, a special rapporteur noted that of all atrocities endured by Ukraine, none may be so damaging as the abduction, deportation, and Russification of Ukrainian children. particularly as these children are subjected to the latter in military patriotic camps.
It's actually envisaged that these children could one day take arms against the Ukrainian society, including their families in Ukraine. So this is really the connection with the cultural erasure of the identity of these children.
The same report suggests the erasure of the children's Ukrainian identity has been directed by top Kremlin leadership, also including by other means. Russian President Vladimir Putin enacted laws to simplify adoption and naturalization of Ukrainian children. He also instructed the military to support the transportation of children.
It is forbidden by international law for occupying powers to transfer civilians from the territory they live in to other territories. Children enjoy special protection under the Geneva Convention.
Putin's actions led to the International Criminal Court issuing an arrest warrant for him, a warrant that the ICC says will stand even if a peace deal between Ukraine and Russia is reached as far as the court is concerned. For TVP World, I'm Sonia Agatabishchan.
India's imports of Russian oil are on track to fall to their lowest level since Moscow's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022. New Delhi has largely replaced crude oil from Russia with fuel from the United States. Now, analysts say Russian oil flow to India was down 18% in the first 10 months of 2025 and is on track to drop by the end of the year to the lowest level in 3 years. That doesn't mean New Delhi's demand for oil is down. India is steadily increasing imports. In the first 10 months of this year, purchases from the U.S. have surged by 83%. This comes as India eyes a trade deal with the United States. Taiwan is accusing China of continuously undermining international order as Beijing conducts large-scale military drills near the island, simulating an encirclement and blockade. Now, the ongoing drills in the Taiwan Strait, named Justice Mission 2025, involve live fire exercises and the deployment of equipment such as fighter jets, bombers, drone, and amphibious assault ships. By early Tuesday, Taiwan's defense ministry reported detecting 130 Chinese military aircraft and 14 naval vessels. The Taiwanese Foreign Ministry condemned the Chinese exercises, saying they, along with military aircraft and warships intrusions, really demonstrate that China is failing to uphold global and regional peace and stability. The Danish postal service PostNord will deliver its last letter on Tuesday. The state-owned company is shutting down its service after 400 years of operation. Now, the traditional red mailboxes have been dismantled and auctioned off for charity. PostNord says it has decided to stop traditional mail delivery because for the last 25 years, the number of letters sent by Danes has fallen by 90%, making the service unprofitable. Starting next year, PostNord will focus exclusively on parcel delivery. Around 1,500 postal workers will also be laid off due to restructuring. And that's all for this edition of World News here on TVP World. I'm Diana Skye. Thanks for watching.